Algonquin for the good place.
Okay.
All right. Hello and welcome to Talkin' Baseball, where we got another team profile and projection for you guys. An episode a day, every day until opening day. That's what we're doing here. If you're enjoying it, please subscribe to the channel. Leave a comment. Let us know what you know that we don't know, because spring training has started as we record this, and there's a lot of movement in camps, a lot of updates. We might have missed out on some, and if you're a Brewers fan, you definitely know the team more than we do. This team finished first in the NL Central last year. They lost in the wild card to the Arizona Diamondbacks. They won 92 games. Jake, they got rid of a big guy. Did they bring any big guys back in?
They brought in a couple guys I likey. Rhys Hoskins. Going to be fun to watch him play baseball again. Going to Milwaukee, anchoring first base. Chalk him up for 30 homers. Jacob Junis, one of my friends, has taken him up top. Gary Sanchez. Some kind of weirdness as we record this, but we're pretty sure he's going to be banging around back there. And then the big trade. They get DL Hall and Joey Ortiz in exchange for Corbin Burns. So, yeah, kind of the staple of the rotation. I mean, the whole law firm, except when Peralta joined, is kind of out of town. Burns is gone. Hauser's gone. Canna, who is huge for them down the stretch. Victor Caratini, Carlos Santana, Andrew Chafin, Rowdy Tellez. A lot of bodies out, and there's a lot of youth on this team, Trev.
There's a lot of youth, and the lineup is kind of, I would say, still up in the air because they have guys maybe playing different positions, a la Sal Frelick, and they have some young guys. So there are, I don't know if there's spring training battles per se, but there could be different versions of this lineup. At the top, you're going to get our guy Yelly, whether that's in the outfield or at DH. He's going to be in there leading the way for all the guys. William Contreras is going to be getting the lion's share of the time behind the dish. He's a stud. Rhys Hoskins is going to be right in the middle of that lineup. He's going to play first base. 30 home runs to me is like, if he's healthy and plays the whole year, like floor for this guy. I think he's going to have an excellent year in Milwaukee. Where's Sal Frelick going to play? They got him messing around the infield a little bit. Could be in right field. A versatile player. You got to like that. Willie Adames still there, Jake. He's not a Dodger. You kept saying he's going to be a Dodger. He's still there. He'll be at shortstop. He's a stud. Garrett Mitchell, he's going to be in left field when Yelly's not in left field. We'll see how that shakes out. Jackson Chourio, who they gave that massive deal to, he'll be in center field. A lot of people are really, really excited about him. Second base, not sure how it's going to shake out. It's going to be Bryce Terang. Joey Ortiz, who we talked about just coming over from the Orioles. He could find himself there. Also, at third base, might be Joey Ortiz. It could be Tyler Black. It could be Monasterio. Like, there's a lot of kind of, I guess, movement we'll see throughout the year, or in spring training, they'll figure out what they want to do. On the bench, they got Jake Bowers. They got Monasterio. They got that Gary Sanchez guy, we think. And then this one's interesting to me. Joey Weimer, where does he fit in all this? Is he going to be on the bench? Is he going to be in AAA? They have some decisions to make. Young lineup, can be exciting, kind of like typical Brewers type of lineup, I think. James, talk to us about the rotation.
Well, the rotation's missing that one dude, so that makes it odd. But you got Freddie Peralta, Wade Miley. Then we got Colin Ray, tall guy. Pitched for them last year. Jacob Junis, DL Hall, maybe Aaron Ashby, Joe Ross, Jansen Junk. A lot of people in the mix over there. And then in the bullpen, they got Devin Williams. They got Joel Piamps, Trevor McGill, Bryce Wilson, Hobie Milner, Abner Uribe. He skyrocketed up last year. AA. Quick stop in AAA? Did he go straight from AA? I forget. Elvis Peguero. Is that the 19-year-old the Blue Jays had?
I always mix up. I think there's two Elvises.
That's Luciano.
Yeah.
Damn it.
Yeah,
two Elvises.
I do that too.
Taylor Clark, also a name back in the bullpen. They got arms. It's just how many of these arms can get stretched out and become starters is the big question. Like, all of those names after Wade Miley, I think, are awesome relievers. Great one-time through a lineup. But how many of those guys can you stretch out? Like Aaron Ashby? I'm not going to sit here and say I know the numbers, but I'm going to make a gut guess that his numbers as a reliever got to be good. Because I saw him pitch in person, and it was some of the nastier stuff I've seen. But can he start? I think that's the same question with Colin Ray. Like, started a lot of games last year. The innings pitched wasn't great, which then hurt the ERA. He didn't really kill games for them, but he didn't get deep into games either. And then the rest, the bottom of the rotation, that's a big question. How many innings are you going to get out of these guys? That's my big takeaway when I look at everything is I believe the Brewers can turn guys into solid pitchers. They're one of the teams that, the Eno Saris article, they can add velo to a guy where like other teams might think he's done growing and maturing and gaining velocity, and they can add. It's just you got to be able to get multiple innings 3 times through, not kill the bullpen. So that's my first question. And then there's a ton that Trev was asking about the infield, Jake. That do you know anything about that?
David, what was Trev saying about the infield, Jim?
He was saying there's a lot of guys, or there's a lot of outfielders.
Trev?
What was I saying about the infield? I forgot.
It's just a lot of guys.
Genuinely forgot. There's a lot of guys.
They're moving guys around. You were saying, where's Joey Wiemer playing? Where's Sal Frelick playing?
I want to stay on the pitching real quick because I think there's a couple guys we might have missed. Like Robert Gasser is a lefty that they think is going to be really good, and he actually, the projection zips. It's kind of what we got to go on right now.
Does he not go by Bob? Bobby Gasser?
Bobby Gass. I think he'll, be a guy. He had a good year in AAA last year in Nashville, so he's a guy to look out for. Also, Jansen Junk, 1,000% going to be traded to the Marlins.
I mean, that is the Yankees way. You go to the Brewers, and then you go to the Marlins. Fire Eisen, remember him?
Yeah, so JJ, just pack your bags for Miami, big guy. What was I saying about the infield? Seriously, I don't remember.
It's a lot of bodies. It's
okay.
The questions around this team. There's a couple things that you feel really good about writing in with, maybe not pen, but like a strong pencil. Christian Yelich kind of resurged himself a little bit. He's kind of become this on-base percentage guy. He also steals bags like Yelly's still an athlete, and he's bringing something on offense, which there's a couple years that Brewers fans were starting to get nervous about where Yelly was heading. William Contreras, he gonna hit. I've seen what he does. I've seen what his brother does. I bet his pops was a pretty good hitter. That's kind of how it works sometimes in the family. Rhys Hoskins. You'd like to think you can pencil that one in. We just haven't seen him. I mean, kind of a unique injury for a baseball player. But when Rhys Hoskins on a baseball field, he hits 30 homers. After that, things get really interesting. Willie Adames is coming off a down year, and then it's all kids. It's all kids. And a lot of these kids got a cup of coffee last year, and they did not get the results. It's kind of the opposite of why I love all those guys on the Reds. Now, that leaves some room that if one or two things happen and you do that with the other guys you can pencil in firmly, we can have a lineup here. But it's all around, what do you think about those kids? Which, Trev, you were laughing beforehand, because if we knew, we'd be in MLB front offices, because they don't know a lot of time how kids are going to pan out. And then from there, it's just, how much does the Burns-Woodruff loss actually feel? I think last year they combined for some like 44 starts with really good results, and they've always felt like, the core of that team that's gone. But this Brewers team does deserve a ton of respect as an organization. The last, since 2017, if there's been a full baseball season, they've won 86 games minimum. And that bullpen, I think, is going to be good, but what is the rotation giving you? Which, I don't know, it feels like bigger questions in Brewerland than we've had in the life cycle of this show.
I feel like it's kind of the same type of question. Now, the pitching staff isn't as locked in as it's been in a while, and that's, cause for concern for me a little bit. But they believe in their guys, and they think they did the right thing with the Corbin Burns trade. I think that's debatable for sure. I think that's going to turn into, what is DL Hall for them? Like, is he the guy that was in the playoffs, like kind of just blowing people away, or I think there's a lot of questions here. I kind of lost my train of thought there. I had something going, big dog. Dang.
Nab it.
Oh, I'll tell you what. This Brew Crew, they I lost it again. James, talk.
Oh my goodness, no way.
I'm on a lot of medication right now, people.
Wow.
Let me find it. You guys go.
I mean, if you can get some thump out of Reeser and Gary in your lineup, and then you let the speedy youngsters, Sal and the gang run around a bit, you could put together some fun. I don't know if that's going to happen, but I would be very interested if you had Yelly, Contreras. I mean, if Adames can do what he does and Gary's in the middle of there somewhere between like Reese, Adames, Gary, kind of like the makeup of that. I like the different approaches of power versus ball and play versus working at bats that they could put together. But a lot of things have to kind of go right. And they were without Counsell. So everyone, according to the Cubs, got a tick worse.
That's where I was going. And no wonder it slipped my mind because I really don't care about managers. But that's the storyline here.
Mm-hmm.
Like, we know Pat Murphy as a players first, fun dude, bench coach that the guys love. I mean, they love this guy. But all we've heard is Craig Counsell will beat you with yours and yours with his. What the fuck is that saying? Whatever. He's gone. That's one of the biggest storylines, which is crazy to me, to be honest with you, is what are they going to do post Craig Counsell? I don't think it matters one freaking bit. Now, Brewers fans will actually tell you that they think it does. They think that he can outmanage people late in games, get the matchups that he wants. I'll say this. If Pat Murphy was sitting there throughout all those changes, guess what Pat Murphy's going to do? The same fucking thing, because Pat Murphy was involved in a lot of those discussions. And he, so I don't think there's going to be some massive drop off because of Craig Counsell leaving. I just don't, people. And I think we're going to get to the DraftKings line. I think it's where it is because of that thought process, and that is shocking to me. I can't get there.
I have thoughts on the DraftKings line, but I don't think we're there yet. But I do think the sentiment is down because they lost the two pitchers and all the innings that came with them. Not yell on the results, just the innings, which is what I opened with. Like, where are they going to find these innings? And then they did lose Counsell. So, like, from the bettor's point of view, the public's point of view, they're playing on that narrative and maybe dropped it lower. I think they're going to be competitive within the division. I think the Brewers are pretty good at scouting their competition. Like, and we've heard this, like, they look at where they think other teams are going to land at from their projections and then be better than those teams. Like, that's how they've been operating. This is going to be the first year where it's like, okay, are your projections better than your players?
They believe they project their own internal projections are better than anybody else's. That is a fact. And I'm sure a lot of organizations think that way. Yeah. But I know they really rely on that. Like,
they've had a lot of winning seasons in a row.
But yeah, I don't know.
Corbin Burns, Jim, you're my innings guy. 21 out of 32 starts. He went 6+ innings.
Yeah.
Every fifth day, that's big for a team, man. And they're going to feel that. It's how can they react? Because I actually like their bullpen a lot, and that's one of the places that they've proved year in, year out that they're going to get performances out of that bullpen. I guess it's the first time I'm a little worried how they're going to get there. Like, Freddie Peralta had a massive year last year. And, he's 27. He should run that back. That's exciting. Miley Junis, Ray, DL Hall, I don't know. It's going to be a huge test for the crew. Their starting pitchers last year were 6th in ERA, 3rd in WHIP, 1st in hits allowed. If they can do that with this crew, they're going to win the Central because I think they're going to get some good hitting performances. And I think one or two of the kids are going to step up. Like, Churrio's supposed to be that guy, right? Like, top 3 prospect, got the bag. Let's see it. And that's with a couple other staples in there that they're going to get something. They're built on run prevention. They're one of the first teams we really heard that from. Yeah, I just wonder how the innings are going to affect their season. Because, man, even when Corbin Burns isn't grooving, the fact that you're probably going to get 6 out there, it's big for the modern bullpen. That's big for the modern team. And I don't know. I think for them it's a little bit how good are the Reds going to be? As we record this, the Cubs really haven't made moves that people think they're going to make still. I'm interested to see how the rest of the division tries to catch up to them because they need to. They won 92 games last year, and they win every year since 2017.
Team to beat.
Yeah, I mean, they have the formula. I know we're not there, and I keep referencing the over-under, but I think this team, I said this when they went and traded Corbin Burns. Somehow, to me, like with the roster they have now, it seems more likely that they're going to have a successful season because this is kind of like the way they like to operate. They like to promote from within. They think they can get what they need to get out of guys that they've signed. Like you said, they can add some velocity, change the pitch mix, all these things to these pitchers. This team, I think more than anyone, believes in their farm system. They believe in the guys that they're about to bring out. They believe in, not just pitchers, but they believe in, the position players. That's why they gave Chourio that deal. They think he's going to be a star. And, I mentioned this on a prior Talking Baseball episode, but when I sat down with Yelich, he said that he's just heard like people think this guy's the best prospect they've ever seen, which is, you can say all the things you want. You just don't hear that very often, right? Like you don't hear that. So I'm sure this guy's a baller and I can't wait to see him. And if that guy comes out and is what he is, the projections aren't as high as a lot of people maybe want them to be. But, I think that's kind of the MO or like the way this season is going to play out for them is can they have guys, like the freshmen last year? Like, are those guys going to be worthy of a freaking documentary? Because they gave them that, their first year and they kind of weren't. There was some progress there. But if you have those young guys step up and be who the Brewers think they can be, like this is a team that's going to contend for the fucking Central again, dude. And they're going to be right there around 85 wins.
What really helped them last year is that they beat the Central. They went 33-19 against the Central. That's the same thing the Dodgers did to the West. The Dodgers went 34-18, and the same thing the Braves did to the East. So they really had their way with their fellow division mates. And they'll need to kind of do that again because if we think their formula is being better than within the division, well, the other division's top players are a little better. So you got to beat yours pretty handily, I think. If the Reds are getting better and the Cubs now have Counsell, so you're fucked. Hopefully it's the dogfight we thought we were going to get last year.
Do you think, Stearns is gone, Counsell's gone, so, a little bit of turnover in the front office and on the man and the coaching side. They're sitting at like $84 million in payroll. That's what it says here. I mean, that might be, I don't know if that's accurate. It's what I'm looking at on the old internet. Do you think this new leadership will be able to convince ownership if they're in a position in July to go out and make the splash that we've always wanted them to make? Now, I get Rhys Hoskins is kind of that bat that we've been asking for, but a left-handed bat, like, are they going to go out and do that this year? Like, is that ever going to happen for them?
Maybe the Orioles choke. They go out and get Burnsy as a rental. Him and DL Hall tear up the postseason.
Wouldn't that be something?
Maybe the Orioles
did the
Ortiz.
Astros just not basically do that?
I guess, Trev, this is what I would ask you.
Trade.
Yeah.
Do you think it's more likely that the Brewers trade for this big piece you're asking for at the trade deadline, or do you think it's more likely that they trade Willy Adames at the trade deadline?
I think it's more likely they trade Willy Adames at the deadline, which sucks.
You're just.
I don't want to. I feel that way, but I don't want to feel that way, Jake.
I know, but you're just using the data points represented here, and that's. I think I don't know. I think I said this with who's the other young team? The Guardians. The Guardians are playing a lot of young guys that it's like, hey, yeah, if these young guys are good, watch out for the guard dogs. I think we're about to find out with the Brewers. I mean, all the young guys that we've named, I haven't seen. Like I haven't seen them perform at the big league level. So I know Churio's that level of prospect that you expect to be a guy or something. The rest of the guys, I mean, Mitchell, Frelick, Terang, Ortiz, Black, like, if I was good enough to scout those guys, I'd already be in that Brew Crew front office. And I am making a pitch.
They probably trade Adames to the Dodgers, and they get like Yarbrough and some other.
And Miggy Rojas back to play shortstop.
back, and the best AAA reliever the Dodgers have. And they turn Yarbrough into a stud for 10 starts, and the reliever turns out to be the next Devin Williams. So they won the trade, even though it didn't really help them win the season.
Okay.
Did I do a good job?
I like it. Fan fiction's good on this episode. Freaking Corbin Burns back at the Brew Crew. Imagine him kicking open the clubhouse door. I'm back, motherfuckers.
Can I tell you where the plot twist of this episode's about to happen?
Let's go.
Because it hasn't been the most exciting Brew Crew talk. But at the DraftKings Sportsbook, here's some exciting news for you. How about a no-sweat bet? You can bet up to $1,000 on some of the NBA action, maybe if you see something else out there. And if you get it wrong, you'll get a bonus bet back in that same amount, up to $1,000. Minimum deposit of $5. Use code Talkin. Get involved in their daily fantasy stuff. That's kind of how DraftKings was built. Download the DraftKings Sportsbook app now, and new customers use promo code Talkin. Get a no-sweat bet. That's promo code Talkin only at the DraftKings Sportsbook. The crown is yours. What's that over-under at?
I'm going to take the over.
76.5. I'm going to take the over as well, and this is going to be my lock. So make sure you put that in the notes, BBD.
Put it in the
going to win
notes.
over 76 games.
I believe in Pat.
The line feels 8 games off. Before we recorded this, BBD did a double check because we were like, this doesn't feel right. 76.5. This team has accidentally stumbled into 10 games better than that in their worst
it's 16 off of what they did last year. I understand there's some people that are gone from the team, but 16 games?
Okay, well, Corbin accounts for 5 games.
Okay.
Counsell, 20.
Right.
50, yeah.
Right.
And then you got to find someone that they got better by getting rid of.
Right.
And math.
Donaldson.
Wow.
The line feels low. I think it's a sweep of an over. I don't know. Brewers.
I'm going to look up right now.
Double Bud Selig thumbs up.
The NL Central betting lines.
Oh, look them up, Trev. What do you got? NL Central betting lines.
There's 2 teams tied at the top, and it's the Cardinals and the Cubs. People are infatuated with the Cubs. I am not on the train yet.
We haven't done no PPP.
Plus 185 for both of those teams. The Reds plus 340. The Brewers have the 4th best odds, or I guess the 4th worst odds. I don't know. 2nd worst odds. Plus 700 to win the division. I'll sprinkle on it.
That's sprinkle worthy. It's a little silly. I don't think the Cubs have gotten better.
Beat Counsell.
Counsell.
Yeah,
20 games
I
better.
trust-
20 games
That's
better.
20.
Cardinals
I trust
might be
in the
20
front
games
office
better.
a little bit here.
Cardinals might be 20 games better.
Cardinals might be 20 games better.
Okay, so we're all on the over, but we don't know how.
Swept the over. Brewers magic.
Attack, Pat.
The NL Central Rays.
Thanks for listening.
I don't like these.
What?
I just want one Rays. We don't need more Rays in this league, okay?
It's fun when one team beats the Reds.
The Brewers are really good this year.
The
They are.
Rays.
It's okay if one team does that.
Who's thought about the Rays?
The Brewers.
Hi, Mikey.